Mr. Shrinivas V. Dempo is the president of AIMA and the chairman of Goa-based Dempo group of companies, which has diversified interests in different industries. He is associated with CII Western Region, Automobile Corporation of Goa Limited, a Tata Group company, Goa Cancer Society, Goa University, and the Dempo Sports Club. He was named among the 50 most influential people in Indian sports in the 2010 Sports Illustrated Power List. Mr. Dempo has a master's degree in industrial administration and finance from Carnegie Mellon University. In 2020, he received the Tepper Achievement Award in recognition of his services as the chairman and managing director of the Dempo Group and in professional associations and civic organizations across India.
May I now invite Mr. Shrinivas Dempo to deliver the valedictory address, please.
Very good evening to all of you, and I would like to first compliment Mr. Shenu Agarwal for the wonderful presentation that he gave today. I was telling him that, for the first time, and I liked it, there were no complex management jargons. These were simple lessons of life which one can learn and has a very deep impact when you actually go and listen to a speaker like him. My friend, Mr. Suresh Raman, who I meet in Delhi for the IMA programs, the very capable Captain Vijay Kumar, I think you've made a world of a difference. And when we talk about leadership, there's a fine example of Captain Vijay Kumar as to how he has continuously demonstrated MMA's supremacy in the management field. Mr. Mahalingam, who is going to take over very shortly the reins of MMA, and other dignitaries on the dais, members of MMA, and my dear friends. At the outset, a big thank you, and I get greetings from IMA. It's really great to see a rocking local management association. I have seen MMA's work. I don't know how many of you know that MMA was born 1 year ahead of IMA. And MMA was one of the founding members of IMA. It's also a very strange coincidence. You are celebrating your 67th year, and IMA has 67 local affiliated associations. So something great about MMA, which has complemented the work that IMA does. I'm told that you are doing brilliant work in so many facets of management, which is really helping IMA in this part of the country to further, the purpose of management excellence in the country. I'm told that you all have programs for Startup Connects. You do more than 750 programs in a year, which is commendable. You have recently started a studio to record management lectures. I think these are all firsts in many of the local associations that I visited. I haven't seen this kind of work. One of the big benefits that I've had as IMA president, though it means a lot of traveling, is to go into the nook and corners of the country and see the brilliant work that many of the companies are doing. When we go to only the big cities and cities like Mumbai and Delhi and see only the big corporations, of course they are doing great work, but the power of India is really in the smaller cities, the kind of innovation happening, the kind of sustainability initiatives they're taking, the kind of R&D initiatives they're taking. And awards is one of the ways that you actually recognize them. So I must congratulate all the award winners for the brilliant work they've done. You are actually a celebration for India. You're celebrating excellence, you're celebrating management. When we talk about a $5 trillion economy that our Honorable Prime Minister talks about, unless we all move ahead, this 5 trillion will not be achieved. And these are fine examples of what brilliant work, whether it's Madras University doing doing work in the field of education and management, whether it is, a company that does, I know ISAB because I buy electrodes from them, or at least I used to, I don't know whether we still buy. but they do great work. Zoho does great work. There are so many others who have done amazing work. So my heartfelt congratulations to them, not only from my personal self, but also from IMA. I'm going to spend a few minutes in talking about my experiences rather than again giving management jargon. I had a printed speech, but I'm going to not do that. But, because we all talk about leadership today, and my topic was changing leadership in changing times. These are really changing times, and I'll give you my personal experience. Unlike Mr. Shenu Agarwal, I'm not a professional, though I've tried to get as much education as possible. But I am a family, I am a family person who is the third generation of the family who runs businesses. And the kind of challenges and also the opportunities, you can't talk only one way, in our country is phenomenal. Because one way we are connected to the whole world, and the other way, India is an outlier in many senses. I don't know how many of you all saw the body language in the US Congress House when our Honorable Prime Minister went. And it's not that they just want to make friendship with you for no reason. They know that India is a powerhouse. They know that India is a nation that will give their businesses an opportunity to expand their wealth, their market cap. So India is no longer ignored. And I think that's the good news. That's the great news for us, that we all have an opportunity to prove ourselves and to contribute to the country's GDP. But you must also realize that increasingly the world is getting into VUCA. We have volatility, uncertainty, ambiguity, complexity, whatever you call it. And that makes the life of a leader all the more challenging and all the more difficult. But there are solutions to all this. And the solution is to change your mindset. While keeping all the basics that Mr. Agarwal informed about clarity of purpose, clarity of role, human interaction, vision building, all these are given and these will never change at any point of time. But a leader today has to react differently in different situations. No longer you are his lordship in the company. You have to believe in shared leadership. You have to take your people with you. And I think Mr. Agarwal talked about it in some sense. Today, the lines of hierarchy are slowly disappearing. I tried to interview a very senior guy for one of my group companies about 2 weeks back. And instead of I telling him that this is what it is, he told me that I will do this. So, things are changing, whether it's work timings, whether it's hybrid models, and COVID has taught us a lot of things. It has demonstrated. But fundamentally, when complexity is increasing, as well as opportunity is increasing, how should a leader behave and how should a leader react in such complex time? So first is that you never fail to recognize your vision, And I'll give you an example of what happened. Our core business about 10, 15 years back was iron ore mining. We were one of the oldest families in Goa which did iron ore mining. It started from my grandfather's times. We had long-term contracts with Japanese steel mills such as Nippon Steel, JFE, all the top leaders of the world. It so happened, and we did this business very sustainably, very respectfully for a very long time. It just happened that China changed the rules of the game. And what was $30 became $130. What it also meant, it has challenged our values and morals. Because there were competitors coming in overnight. They were bypassing all the rules and regulations. And they said that, look here, if your cost of ore is $20 and we can sell at $130, they abolished all these long-term contracts and they went to China and sold in the spot market. I was increasingly challenged by this. I had a dilemma, whether I continue to rake in the money that all the others are doing, or I should be different from them and also different from the others, and said that no, I will still make only $5 a ton instead of $105 a ton, but I will stick to my core business. It became increasingly difficult for me to continue when the whole world or larger majority part of the world was looking into it. And I'm talking this from a vision context, that generating wealth, as Mr. Agarwal said, while it's extremely important, it's not the only purpose in life. You know, you are running your businesses for a purpose other than money. Money is a side effect. So what it challenged me to do is sell this business of mine. Though it was my identity in a lot of ways, it's like Tata's group selling Tata Steel tomorrow. It was iron ore mining. The family was known for two things, mining and football. Football still continues, but mining has disappeared. And why did I do it? Because it challenged my ethics and morals and the vision that the founders had set up. So I did sell the business at the most profitable time, but in 3 years, mining closed in Goa. Not that I was a visionary, not that I foresaw what was coming, but I stuck to my core values and beliefs. And I said that I will not move away, though the opportunity and the chance of making much more money was, I could see it in front of my eyes. But I said, that's not my main purpose. My main purpose was to deal with my customers, as Mr. Agarwal talked, that, and the customers weren't happy in the environment that was happening, or your traditional customers. So that's why I sold, and the rest was as luck would have it. In 3 years, because of illegalities in mining in Goa, the government took a firm stand and closed mining. Till today, after 11 years, mining has not started in Goa. Now they are taking initiatives. They are running an auction and a transparent bid process. I think very large companies are bidded. Some of them have got the leases. So this is lesson number one, that whatever you may challenged by the VUCA world, please don't forget your beliefs and your values. You have to build those beliefs and values, and you have to sustain them. The second is changing Indian entrepreneur mindset. And I was talking to your president a few hours back before this. I said that one needs to look at a bigger mindset. How do you do that? Because we all run family businesses, or many of us run family businesses, and it's not easy to run businesses. I do salute all of you for running your businesses in such challenging and competitive times. But when I said changing mindset, when I took over the business, it was largely a family-operated business. It was largely a family-controlled business. And I said that if I control 6 areas of operations, or 6 sectors which we operate in, I'm not doing justice to those businesses. Of course, the ancestors had their own way of dealing. Times were different. When I realized that technology, the other stuff that we talk about, geopolitics, everything comes together on you, either you need to build professionalism within your organization, take that risk and go ahead. Okay? And the biggest challenge was, how do you pay a salary bigger than your own self? Because we all have egos. We as owners have egos. We say, I am the chairman of the company. If I am getting an X amount, how can my CEO get an X plus 1 or X plus 2 or X plus 3? I came out of that mindset. Took the courage, which was never prevalent in our culture, to appoint professionals in all the 6 segments that we were operating in. Today, I can say in a very humble way that each of the segment has grown at least 3x. Because that's the kind of risk that one takes without disturbing your vision. And without disturbing your vision, you believe in empowerment of people. And what COVID helped me to do is even empower my middle managers. Because all of us remember the time when all our factories were closed. It taught me 2 things. One is, how do you embrace technology, which was not prevalent in an organization like mine, because we also had a mix of youngsters and old people. And how do you actually mingle? Because that's another challenge, and that's another challenge a leader faces, as to how do you actually combine a smartphone app-based population with somebody who is not exposed to this in the past. So what we did is we embraced technology very fast. We empowered middle-level managers because the situation was such that we had to take very quick actions. And what it gave me a chance, because it was digital mode, it exposed me to a lot of junior and middle-level managers, which I would have never seen in my life. If I was in person in the office, I would meet only with my senior team with a lack of time. And that taught me another lesson, is take the risk and be much more open to the entire employee in the organization rather than your 3 or 4 key people. Send messages across board. Send messages to your lower employees, what you believe in. That's why I said in the beginning that one has to have a concept, however small or large you may be, of a shared leadership. Empower people, with your own experience of so many years that you ran your business, you will be able to determine who do you actually take a risk and empower with. But go below, one level below, go, the top -1 and start looking at people and empowering, start communicating to them. That builds, the younger generation today is not there only for money. Of course, money plays a very key determinant, but they want a purpose for your business. When youngsters join, they ask straight away, because none of the earlier generation used to ask this. Say, what's the purpose of your business? Where do you want to take it? And they are smart enough to realize when you answer, and some of the key pointers that they do and say, whether it's worth joining this organization, just because they are paying me well, that doesn't mean anything. If I believe in the purpose of the vision of the founder or the vision of the chairman, or I believe the vision of the promoter, if I believe in his management methods, then I will join, otherwise I'll not join. The third challenge that we face today is COVID has taught us how do we take care of our employees. Today it's no longer a cost. It's a dividend that you are paying yourself. Every time that we used to run earlier, we used to take labor as a cost, management as a cost. Today you can't think in those terms. COVID really put all of us in one plank. Me and my clerk could have got COVID and gone to the same ICU. Okay? So it taught us something that Mr. Agarwal talked about, is simplicity. But how do you get it ingrained in the culture of your organization? Because everybody is at par, everybody thinks the same way. So all it did is, when it came to so much pressure that we said we have to cut salaries of employees, we made sure that the middle level and the junior level, there is no cut. The cut was only at the highest level. It was not even a cut, it was a deferment, saying that if things improve, we will pay it back. But what I'm saying is that you need to take that risk and communicate with people, build the vision that you have got along with people and take them forward. Because today, the real challenge is how do you get them aligned to the organization? And the only way is to be true to yourself, is to be very open about it, and believe that they are part of your organization and to deal. Earlier, the earlier style of management was different. I remember my grandfather days, they actually used to create a rift between two senior employees so that they gain. Today, the management methods have changed. Today, you are much more open. Something like your company today, I think everybody sits on one table and everybody discusses whether it's senior, junior. That's the new way of doing. Even the office structures are done in such a way that in many offices, cabins are done away with. They only have a sitting area and they have conference rooms. Because at the end of the day, it's about interacting with people, talking about people. So this is how, you have to try to change your leadership philosophy into being in embracing people. The fourth thing is, today you cannot ignore sustainability issues and technology. And I think many of us realize, we are small, we are not in that game, nothing will happen to us. The things that are happening, whether it's in technology or in climate change and sustainability, sometimes it's so fearsome that if we don't act with speed, we will be left behind in the race and we will not even know when we have to close it. So we have to be extremely vigilant. We have to start working on a plan. Now, somebody who's a 10,000 crore business and somebody who's a 100 crore business has different implications and different expectations. But at whatever size you are, you have to go to your drawing board and say, this is my technology, this is my production, this is what I produce. How do I make a difference to the environment and the global climate crisis? Today, you have to start with your own employees. You have to start with yourself and question your organization people that what are we doing jointly? For example, when we did not take this very seriously, and it only became mottos and slogans at board meetings and press conferences, we got pressure from the reverse side. Some of our customers are based internationally, and they sent us a great chart that where are you graded today in terms of all these issues in the ESG? Okay. And they gave us a timeline. They said, if in the next 3 years you don't come to our score, we will be constrained to discontinue your purchase. So this is the kind of pressure that is coming. Today it's international, tomorrow it's going to be national. Everybody is talking, we as a nation have committed, zero emission, net zero emission by 2070. Many of the countries have committed by 2050. We are still 20 years, but 20 years means nothing. What are we doing in terms of embracing renewable sources of energy? How are we changing transportation methods? I was talking to Mr. Agarwal earlier saying that, where is this drive for electric vehicles, start on a massive scale? Because they are doing, buses and commercial transport and vehicles. So these are things that all of us at our own levels should look into and look at solutions rather than saying it is somebody else's problem. And, by the time it will come, it will be another 20 years, 30 years. Please don't think like that. The earlier you embrace these things, are better it is. And that's where, a leader has to change itself from in changing times. The last one that I want to say is about technology. Technology today, I don't know how many of you all use ChatGPT, and I'll give you a small example. One of my companies is listed, so I wanted to make a letter to shareholders because the annual report was supposed to be published. So I talked to my team because there's a research team which researches on, the industry, and they write on the industry, and then they write on the company. And then I asked my company secretary I said that I didn't tell him I'm using ChatGPT, but I said I will make an attempt. So he was quite surprised that the chairman of the board is making an attempt to write a letter to the shareholders. When I told them, they said that they'll be ready in 3 or 4 days. It took me 3.5 minutes to get a letter from ChatGPT, which was 50% better than their language. So there's a deeper message in this, that you can't ignore technology. Whether it's artificial intelligence, whether it's augmented reality, virtual reality, whatever you may say, we have to embrace it. And by embracing means, you have to expose your employees of the company. You have to make them more aware of these things. You have to train them, reskill them. Because at the end of the day, if you don't empower them and reskill them, not only will they lose their jobs, we'll lose our businesses. And don't again think that you are in a sector which doesn't get embraced with technology. Every single business today, is going to be embraced by technology. If COVID has changed so much for you, I know of an employee, I heard a senior management in Mahindra telling, they had looked at a guy and he says that if you allow me to stay in Thailand for 6 months and I'll work hybrid, I will join, otherwise I will not join. Now these are the kind of demands that are coming from young people. Because they have realized that 9 to 5 concept, in America there's a huge backlash. People are not coming to offices. And the reasons and these are a bunch of smart guys which you can't ignore. The reasons given are, I'm used to walking my dog at 12 in the afternoon. And now the dog is not accepting it because it's become a habit for the dog. But he works from home. He delivers to you. So how do we really relate to all this? For us it's tough because we are used to clocking in our cards at 9:30 and then going back at 6 o'clock home. Those days have changed. So we also have to change our mindset. We also have to look at it in a different way so that the world moves on, your businesses move on, and we continue. And at the end of the day, you are in a country which the whole world is looking up to you for. You are a true outlier in every sense. Today, because of geopolitics, there's a lot of distrust. I don't want to name in our neighboring country. Okay. How do we actually, the challenge and opportunity for us is, how do we actually scale, our operations, our businesses, our education? The Honorable Vice Chancellor just now said that they have come in the 500, and no Indian, I mean, it's commendable that they have got that rank. No Indian university, including the IITs, come in the top 100. And there are 3 Chinese or 4 Chinese university that come in the top 50, forget 100. So we have a lot of catching up to do. India is capable, India has the potential, but we need to understand that unless we think big, unless we change our mindsets, unless we empower people, unless we seriously focus on ease of doing business, and the ease of doing business is not only for the government to look at, it also for the private enterprise to look at. So these are some of the few issues that I encounter in my businesses, and I thought that I will share with you all. I just want to close with something that I read. I read Mr. Deepak Parekh's article in Economic Times a few days back, and I got some pointers from there, which I wanted to say at the end, because all of you all are leaders in some way. These are excerpts from article published in Economic Times. There is no substitute for time testing values of honesty, integrity, and accountability. It's always there. There's no switch on and switch off. As a leader, you must have clarity, humility, and courage. Always ensure that humility sticks with you like a glue. There is no softer pillow to rest your head at night than a very clear conscience. Ultimate success is just an illusion, but contentment and honesty of intention are real. Build life worth, not net worth. Think big and act small. Greed and arrogance have been the pitfall of many people. And the last one, be kind, because most people will not remember the work you do. They will remember how you make them feel. Thank you so much.